Good evening. Hello. Thank you everyone for joining us. This is our first virtual comprehensive plan open house, and we have a presentation to go through, but I wanted to give a quick introduction to who I am. I am Samantha Woolenwaber. I am the planning director with the town of Clayton. And a comprehensive plan, of some people may know or may not know, is a guiding document for the town, and it's a document that we use on a daily basis in decisions that we make for the town of Clayton. On average, you should update these every 3 to 5 years, and Clayton has seen exponential growth and does not appear to be slowing down anytime soon. So we want to make sure that we can have that growth to happen in a sustainable way for us, whether that be through infrastructure, water, sewer, roads, transportation, schools, parks. Every aspect of the town is included in this comprehensive growth plan. And one way that we get input is from the public. The public is a huge, one of the biggest parts of this plan. So it's very important that we get feedback from the public. And that's the reason that we are doing this comp plan open house virtually. We did have one back in November in person, but due to the current COVID-19 pandemic, we wanted to make sure everybody had an opportunity to see what was going on and see what's happening. We do have a website, claytonnc.org, and there is a link to our comprehensive plan on there. You'll find lots of the different items that we've been going over. And there's also a survey link. Please take this survey. This survey provides a lot of the background that we need to begin compiling the comprehensive plan. We've started with lots of research and public outreach, and now our next step after we wrap up our initial phases of public engagement is to start drafting this ginormous plan. But again, the plan is very important to guide Clayton in the future. We want to make sure that we have the say of the citizens, business and property owners, and developers in Clayton. So I really appreciate you all taking the time to watch this. And again, please take the survey, share it with all of your friends. Another event we have coming up, we have a downtown walking tour this Friday. If you would like to attend that, you can email planning@townofclaytonnc.org and RSVP, and we will see you then. So again, thank you very much.
Hello and welcome to the Clayton Growth Plan Update virtual workshop. This is one of a series of meetings that we'll be having over the next few months to talk about the update of the comprehensive plan, which is called the Clayton Growth Plan. We'll talk a little bit about ourselves and talk about the schedule and process, the trends and analysis, and what we've heard so far. My name is Jake Petrosky. I work with Stewart, a consultant firm out of Raleigh. And then we also have Allison Evans, a planner with Stewart as well. And we've been working closely with the Town of Clayton Planning Department and other departments on the update of this plan. So a little bit about the schedule and process. It's a 4-phase schedule for the update of this plan. We began in summer and we had a number of kickoff meetings, had stakeholder interviews, and started the kind of mapping and analysis and envisioning phase of this. And the envisioning phase really is where we hear from members of the public and get feedback on what the big priorities are in the town and what big issues need to be addressed. We'll kind of take everything we hear from this phase and start making recommendations and drafting the plan. And we'll have a number of opportunities in the spring to kind of share our draft recommendations and make some changes before the plan is adopted, and hopefully sometime in early summer. The growth plan really acts as the town's comprehensive plan, and it's meant to document a community conversation. What things are going well, what are new challenges that really need to be addressed by the town and its partners. It also provides strategic policy direction and guidance for both the town and public sector, but also for private sectors. It does include a future land use map, and that will be used as a guide for future land use decisions. So what types of land uses should go where residential should go, what should it look like, where commercial development should go and industrial development should go, and what the the design of that development. How big are the buildings? What do the streets look like? What do the parking lots look like? That kind of thing. This plan will also provide a guide for staff in terms of how to direct their time and limited resources, new programs the town might want to entertain, and also infrastructure investment. Where should we provide infrastructure first, second, and third? We can't automatically extend water and sewer to all corners of the town in the extraterritorial jurisdiction, or ETJ. And also what areas should be served better with parks and greenways, that sort of thing. The plan is policy, not regulatory, meaning it doesn't automatically become law, but it could influence changes to current regulations. So it could call for an adjustment of a zoning district or a new zoning district, or adjusting subdivision standards, that sort of thing. The last comprehensive plan was done in 2015, and a lot has changed in the town since then. So we really need to update the plan, and that's what we're doing. We're going to be touching on a lot of different topics with the comprehensive plan. We're going to touch on infrastructure and housing and environment, parks and open space, land use for sure, economic development. Also downtown is a really hot topic. A lot of people want to see the continued success of downtown Clayton, and also how it can be improved in the future. There is a steering committee that will meet 5 to 6 times during the process, and kind of help guide the process and guide the plan. If you know any of these folks, reach out to them and tell them your concerns and priorities that you want to see addressed. We've had a number of activities in November. We had a public meeting, gave a presentation to the Rotary, reaching out through Facebook and through email. We have a virtual workshop. This will be posted on YouTube and Facebook, and feel free to answer the questions that we asked in the comment section of those platforms. We also have a walking tour on Friday this week, December 11th. We meet at the Town of Clayton Town Hall on 2nd Street about 10 a.m. And we're going to walk around town and talk about priorities and issues and ideas that people have for downtown. And stay tuned for more public input opportunities in the spring as we draft recommendations. So trends and analysis, looking at kind of different things that are kind of coming to the fore based on mapping and analysis and looking at demographics. Population growth is certainly something we're looking at. 54% growth since 2010. That's a significant amount of growth in the town, and it's really hard to believe. A lot of growth in Johnson County is happening in the western part of the county, near Wake County, and a significant portion of that is happening in the town of Clayton. I think the county as a whole is growing at about 15% over that time period, 15 or 20%, and a lot of that's happening in the town. We also are looking at other peer communities to understand kind of where Clayton is heading. If you look at the town of Wake Forest, they were about the size of Clayton back in 2007. So that gives us a sense in the trajectory where we might be in 10 or 12 years. If you look at Holly Springs, they're the size that they were the size that Clayton is now back in 2010, and have experienced significant growth. So some of the issues that these towns are dealing with might be on the horizon for the town of Clayton. Another thing we like to look at is existing land use. So this is how land is used currently in the town. This is just a snapshot from the existing land use analysis that we've done, looking at the downtown area, really downtown Clayton, over to US 70 business. You can see a lot of the commercial uses in town concentrated on US 70, but also you do see Main Street, and you see the yellow is the residential areas of kind of downtown Clayton. And moving over to the west, you also see some big institutional uses like Clayton High School and Clayton Middle. But you also see a lot of green on this map. So the light green is actually vacant or agricultural land or forestry land. So it gives you a sense of what areas could experience more development in the future. So this is something that we're looking at to understand where future growth could occur. We're also looking at environmental constraints and natural resources. For instance, a lot of the areas that are green on the north side of downtown also have very steep slopes. So that is a development constraint. Doesn't mean there can't be development, but it makes it a little bit more expensive and needs to be done in a particular manner. If you summarize existing land use in all of the planning area, you see kind of some trends here. A lot of it is single-family residential in terms of land area. Single-family residential makes up 19% of the land area, but interestingly, it makes up 50% of the value in town, property value in town. Attached residential is a very small percentage, 1% of land area, but makes up 6% of the property value. Commercial, office, and industrial development makes up 7% of the land area and 14% of the value. And this is kind of how land is used based on acreage. And then if you look at value, you see that single-family residential is almost half of the property value in town. And then commercial development, 7%, industrial development, 4% are some of the highlights. If you add everything up, there's a total market value of property in the town's planning area of $4 billion. So that's roughly the same value as the New England Patriots NFL football team. So one of the things that this plan is trying to do is preserve and enhance property value as well, because there's a lot of people and businesses that have made a lot of investments in the town, and that's something we want to safeguard moving forward. We also look at what's called the land supply. So this is really what areas are developed, and then also what areas are likely to experience more development. The gray on this map are utilized lands. Those are residential areas and churches and schools and commercial areas that aren't likely to experience redevelopment, just based on looking at the property value and that sort of thing. So well, we also look at available land. So those are the light green areas. Those are areas where they're either vacant or agricultural or forestry land, and that's something that can experience more development. And then underutilized areas in yellow that might have one house on a larger tract of land and could experience more development. There's also approved subdivisions and other developments that are located on this map in pink, and that makes up about 2,000 acres of land. And there's a significant number of homes that are approved in those areas that will likely be built out over the next 10 or 15 years. And that's something that we're factoring in as well. So Allison, do you want to give an overview on some of the feedback so far?
Sure thing. So as Jake mentioned before, we're gathering community input and feedback in a lot of different ways. We had stakeholder interviews at the beginning of the process, which are a focus group type of format where we have people from different backgrounds, church representatives, economic development, people who work in downtown, people who work in the parks, to let us know what the issues that they're facing are. We had a public meeting November 10th at the Clayton Community Center. Over the course of 2 hours, about 40 attendees came and gave us feedback and the type of activities we're going to talk about in a couple slides. And we've had the survey posted for several weeks now that a lot of people have taken. We've had 1,600 responses so far. We have a goal of 2,000. So if you're watching this and you haven't taken it, please go to that link that you see on the bottom and it'll take you to the survey. So what we've been hearing so far from those 1,600 people, that their top 3 reasons for being in Clayton are the small town lifestyle, the safety, and the affordability. So you can see that those 3 are high and above the next ones in the line. Although I'm from here, or I'm near family, and I like the good schools, were also popular choices. So you can see how the concerns for the future of Clayton are for that small town lifestyle potentially changing, the affordability to change, and number 1, strongly was traffic, which is something we've heard throughout a lot of the responses on this survey. You can see that public schools and school options was neck and neck with housing affordability there. So a lot of these, what we're hearing again is this small town lifestyle changing. So we want to hear from you. What does a small town lifestyle mean to you? Small town character, is it seeing trees when you walk down the street? Is it small roads with sidewalks? Is it a park near where you live? Or is it the sense of community? There are events to go to. I know there are a lot of factors, so if you can put what you think a small town character is in the comment box below this video, that will really help us as we make our recommendations. So another question asked, what type of development would you like to see more of in Clayton? The top two were commercial and retail, which is a theme we've been hearing more. Small scale commercial development was number one at almost 45% of people wanting to see that. And then large scale commercial, like large shopping centers, big box stores, hotels. Number three was none of these, which we can maybe interpret as that people who don't want to see more development. But that small scale residential, small scale commercial development came through in the next question, which is, what are your top priorities for downtown? Number one thing that people want to see are dining and shopping options, which would be what that small scale commercial is. People want to see more programming, festivals, events. Everyone's wants to get out and socialize after this year. Historic preservation is also very a strong priority. Downtown Clayton has a lot of character, and people want to make sure that that's protected. And number four was parking and sidewalks, so you can get there and get to enjoy these programs or these shopping and dining opportunities downtown. So, and now we ask people, if you were looking for a new home, what would interest you? And there was a strong preference for homes with larger yards. You can see that in the red there. But if you gather up all the other options, a house with a small yard, a patio home, townhome, apartment, or other, up to 55% of people would consider other options. So housing choice is something that we also saw come through in a lot of questions. What do you most value in a community was another question we asked, and this one we provided pictures. This is what makes you feel connected to where you live. This is what you say, oh my God, you have to come visit me. We have a great active downtown or great outdoor recreation. So what we heard on that slide was people really value the downtown of Clayton and keeping it active and keeping it a destination. And they also want environmental preservation. Clayton is a very active community, and you've got the Neuse River right there. So people want to make sure that that is there to enjoy in the future. And number three was attractive streets and public spaces. So we want to know, what is your vision for the town of Clayton? We asked this in the survey, but we also want to hear from you. So after you're done answering what small town character means to you, go type in that box, what is your vision for the town of Clayton in 10 to 20 years? What we heard on the survey when we asked this question was that people want a small town feel with big town opportunities, small enough to know your neighbors, yet a decent size that draw in new business. So that kind of small, but with opportunities and choices. A flourishing community with well-planned green areas and schools. As we saw in the previous question, people want to make sure that environmental preservation is kept up. Housing that reflects a wide range of income levels and preferences. So this vision really encompasses a broad spectrum of what people want to see, and some people have different views. What we heard when we went through these questions, again, was that small town feel coming up as, probably the most common term that we heard. And then we heard about the traffic, which we saw in previous questions as well. People want to see quality homes being built. They want to see other options being built, which is something we also saw in previous questions. And then retail options, school capacity, and natural land and green space. So, when we think of what that vision is, what is one step that the town can take towards that vision? If you want sidewalks, where do you want them? If you want parks, what do you think is a good place to put them? Or even a smaller step, if you want more lighting downtown so it's safe to go to after dark, put that in the box as well.
Another thing that we asked about is there a specific location that needs improvements or transportation issue that's a priority for you? And there's some things that we heard that were consistent: US 70, and especially Shotwell Road, and Covered Bridge, and NC 42, downtown Clayton, and needing more sidewalks in certain places, and Glen Laurel Road. These were some of the priorities from the transportation perspective, and the biggest traffic issues are on some of these roads. There's some good news on some of these roads. There are planned improvements in the state transportation improvement program. Many of these roads are maintained by the Department of Transportation. The town does maintain a number of roads, about 90 miles of roads, but most of them are the smaller roads or secondary roads. The main roads, the U.S. highways, and some of these other main roads are primarily maintained by the DOT, so we have to work with them to get them improved. There are some transportation improvement program projects that will help in the town. NC 42 East widening is currently underway on the east side of town. NC 42 West widening is a little bit farther out. DOT has had some funding issues, and that's been pushed out a little bit, but it is programmed. Another project that will benefit folks in town is the extension of 42 to Ranch Road, and that is going to be constructed in a few years. So that'll help provide another avenue for folks heading west on NC 42, and they won't have to go over to NC 42. They could take Ranch Road to the bypass, so that will certainly help things out. A couple other things that we heard from the public meeting: downtown needs a couple different things, new shops and businesses, which is in line with what we heard from the survey. Patio dining was a high priority, and crosswalk improvements, wide sidewalks, and plantings as well. So that's something that the town will be thinking about, and we'll be thinking about how to address that. We also asked about what kinds of development should we encourage, and what's the design of different types of development. So from a residential preference, single-family detached homes were encouraged. Front-loaded townhomes were not as well liked. When it comes to different types of residential, we asked where different neighborhoods and development should go. House scale mixed residential, so these are duplexes or quadplexes that fit well in established neighborhoods, or pocket neighborhoods, small single family homes in front of common green space, and then some more of townhomes and vertical mixed use, and some other things that were in high activity areas that were preferred. So some of the emerging themes that we're hearing that we want to take into account is concern over growth, infrastructure and services in general. So the traffic, concerns over school capacity, that sort of thing. Preserving the small town feel. There's different meanings, different folks. We'd love to hear what that means to you, what the small town character that you love about Clayton that you want to preserve. We need a plan for housing to ensure quality and also some more housing choice to meet demands. We need a plan for retail and jobs, small and big box, but also I need to protect land for industrial uses and jobs. We've heard that downtown is definitely a differentiator for Clayton. Greenways and sidewalks are really important. Preservation of natural resources is important. There's some concern over clear cutting during development and water quality and that sort of thing. There's also a need to improve active recreation opportunities and create activities for families. And that's something that we've heard. And then just internet improvements, so public internet and access to high-speed internet You know, what do you agree with, and what surprised you out of these findings from the survey and comments so far? So just go ahead and enter your comments in the comments box on Facebook and YouTube, and we'll add those to the input. There's also another way that you can interact. There's an interactive map that you can go on. The URL is here, and you can submit comments on the interactive map. You can tell us what you want to keep, what we definitely need to preserve in the community, what you want to toss or what you want to change, and then what do you want to create? What do we need more of, or what would you want to create in Clayton that may not exist or may not exist in your neighborhood? And just a reminder that we do have a walking tour that is scheduled for Friday. We're gonna meet at the town hall at 10 a.m. and just go for a walk around downtown and talk about major issues and some of your priorities and some ideas for downtown Clayton. So join us there. And if you have any kind of general discussion or general questions that you want to submit those in the comment box, or you can email us. Samantha, the plan director's email is here, and then my email is here as well. Feel free to email us directly. Next steps, we have that walking tour on Friday. The survey will continue through Christmas. The interactive map will likely stay active through January. We're going to be turning our attention to drafting recommendations in the next couple months, and have a draft plan for you to review later on in the spring. With that, I appreciate you all taking the time to listen to this, and thanks for caring about the future of Clayton, and stay abreast with the process and stay involved. Thanks so much.